Good day. This is Aging Maven aficionado Amy K. Gaskin. On this episode of Ask Amy About Aging, I have Anthony Ford of How's Grandma. Welcome once again, Anthony.
Oh, thank you so much for having me back, Amy. It's lovely to speak with you.
Lovely to speak with you too. Today, we're going to be talking about increasing caregiver efficiency through the use of the Carebidet. So if you want to give a brief introduction about who you are and why you came into care, we can start with that.
Sure, of course. Well, I'm happy to share my story. I got into senior care in a home care environment, basically because of my own mother. So I was looking for care for her, just like many people are out there, maybe people watching this episode. And I ended up creating my own care environment for my mother in a home environment, hiring my own caregivers. And I was just intending to do it for my mother. But situations change, and I got tremendous satisfaction out of it. I was doing a totally different full-time job at the time and decided, honestly, this was a lot more important and was consuming a lot of my time. And if I was going to do it for full-time, I was going to do it for other people's mothers and fathers. So this is where my standards come from. The way I like to approach home care is the same way I did it for my own mother. And it's a great measurement. You know, I always employ that. And looking around, when I was doing that, I was getting great satisfaction out of it. But what I really want to do is make a nationwide difference and do lots and lots of seniors, a way I can make a positive thing, a positive change out there for senior care. And I came across this device in wide use throughout Asia. And I thought, I can't believe this isn't in the US. Why shouldn't it be in the US? Well, maybe that's me that brings it to the US.
Yeah, apparently that was your calling.
Yeah, this is bringing the same passion I brought to senior care on a local basis that I can apply more widely and nationwide with this device in the US.
Right. That's how I felt when I came across family care space and family care space at home. I was like, man, I could affect a lot of people and not just people in my own backyard. So how can the use of the Carebidet help these caregivers be more efficient in their care?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, as an owner of a home care agency, I employ hundreds of caregivers. I know what they do on a daily basis. I'm even, when I set up a company, I became a certified caregiver myself, and I've taken shifts. You know, I know what the job is.
Well, you have to in this day and age with the shortage of caregivers. I mean, everyone in the home care agency needs to be certified.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And, you know, hiring and retraining and retaining, caregivers is hard work, getting the good ones. And I pay very well. I pay above my competition. I incentivize in a unique way. But it's not the be all and end all of it, because no matter what we do overall, there are not enough caregivers. I can be more successful in my agency at retaining caregivers, but that still leaves them short. So we've got to look at ways of doing more with less. That's the mantra of the whole world now. We have to be doing this. We have to be taking care and being smarter and more efficient about what we're doing. And again, this is an important addition to that toolbox to help deal with that caregiver shortage. So we're dealing in a situation, not enough caregivers, nationwide shortage, poor pay, hard, unpleasant work, and a background of workers' comp claims because their backs changing people, they slip on urine, changing people. Diaper care is not only bad for the patient or client, it's also bad for the caregivers.
Right.
It's backbreaking. It's possibly one of the least pleasant tasks that the caregivers do, but so important for various reasons we've already discussed, such as the UTIs, the pressure sores, that we get this right and we get it better, and we get it being able to do it better with less caregiver time devoted to it. So how does this do it? That's the question you asked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically it automates the collection, the cleaning of both solid and liquid waste from the client, automates that process, takes the waste away from the body, cleans the body afterwards, and then blow dries it so that the skin is completely dry. These are all tasks that are currently accomplished by changing diapers properly.
Right.
Changing diapers properly takes 10 to 15 minutes per diaper change. If you're doing it properly, including disposal time
Right.
of all the elements, and we've already talked about disposal as well.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it properly, 10 to 15 minutes, more like 10 minutes maybe for urine diaper, probably at least 15 minutes if it's a diaper with
Yeah.
feces in it.
Right.
The cleaning up is so extensive. The moving of the patient to access to properly clean is not only awkward, but it's also backbreaking for the caregivers as well.
Right.
So if we can automate that task, we're going to save a lot of caregiver time, which
Right.
means in turn, we have more caregiver time with the same pool of caregivers.
Right, which would help immensely. And it would also help reduce the cost of probably 24/7 home care in the home.
Yes.
And I'm thinking adult children, that where their parents live with them and you have to get up in the middle of the night to change their diaper or, clean up because they missed the toilet or they didn't make it to the toilet and there's a whole trail from the bedroom to the bathroom.
Absolutely.
So now hook them up and go to bed and everyone gets a restful sleep. No one has to worry about getting out of bed. I mean, there's so many benefits, even if you just used it at night.
Absolutely. And if the family is working as unpaid caregivers, yes, you don't necessarily get the financial benefits that this offers to institutions, but oh my gosh, the dignity and imagine put yourself in a situation where you're stuck in bed having to ask your family member to change you.
Yeah.
I mean, as a baby, we don't realize what's happening, so we can't be mortified by it.
Right.
But when you're an adult, should we be doing this? I think
Yeah.
not only requires a lot of labor, it's so undignified.
It is.
It's so unpleasant.
So many people, to rent the machine in the home, it's $40 a day. I would pay $40 a day just so I wouldn't have to change another diaper in my life. I mean,
time and motion studies have been carried out in Asia on this machine compared to regular diaper care can show it can free up as much as 80% of the time spent on diaper care,
wow.
Which translates in a 24/7 basis to 2.5 hours a day saved. Now, if you're a family member, that's 2.5 hours a day that you can spend quality time, not diaper time, with your own loved one. So that dignity, that's significant. But in an institution, some caregivers, that's just all they do in institutions is go around changing diapers 24/7, not literally the same caregiver, but across a 24/7 period, you're saving virtually the whole time of that caregiver. That caregiver can now put that time in to real care while you've been able as an institution to deal with your caregiver shortage.
Right.
Because they're that much more efficient. You've automated the most unpleasant task. And what's more, the caregiver is going to be more motivated. Once they got used to using this device, are they going to want to work in your institute with this device? Or are they going to work somewhere else that doesn't have this device?
Right.
Where would they rather be?
Exactly. And I think you mentioned that it only takes 2 hours of training with a video and you can become very proficient. And the machine talks your way through it. So if you do something wrong, it's going to say, you got to do this now.
Absolutely. It's really straightforward to use. The training is, it's a couple of hours to learn it. And then you need some hands-on time to refine that knowledge in a physical sense. But it really, with a day or so, with a bit of training and then being demonstrated it in hand and then getting the practice, you can do it hands down. It's so much easier than the diaper
And there's
care.
no smell and it's easy and it's comfortable.
Well, even that plays into caregiver efficiency because now what some institutions like skilled nursing facilities, rehabs can smell like.
Oh, it's awful.
And if you make that environment more pleasant, then you're going to have more motivated employees and you're going to have better satisfied patients. So it's not only is it helping you provide real care rather than just diaper care, it's automating virtually that entire process There is some work still involved, like emptying and refilling the machine and then doing the cleaning cycle once a day, but it adds up to far, far less than the 24/7 diaper care.
Exactly.
And so it's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. It's going to increase the dignity. It's going to increase the motivation of the caregivers. Why would they go back to an institution that doesn't have this machine? And again, we've talked about this. I want to see
out,
this
you never
everywhere.
want to not have it. And
Did you?
institutions can lease the machine for 3 years or 5 years, so that's good. So it's not something they necessarily have to buy outright.
Absolutely.
So,
So
yeah.
let's look at some a little bit wider what the problems it solves. The first one is the caregiver time. We discussed that. Time
Right.
for monitoring, changing, doing bedpan care, cleaning up the mess, cleaning sheets. Hey, it's removing all that. But it's also reducing the waste associated, the diaper
Right.
care waste. And we discussed that in detail in a previous meeting. The
Right.
amount of money that's spent collecting and disposing of all those used diapers, it's horrid and expensive. We're reducing the full risk of both the patient because they don't have the motivation to try and get out of bed when it's inappropriate to use a commode or a urinary bottle or some other device. They can stay in bed and have a very comfortable experience going to the bathroom. But guess what? That also does not only reduces the full risk for the patient, but for the caregivers who come in and someone has had an accident on the way to commode, left a trail of urine or feces. I mean, it's embarrassing, but it's also dangerous because you can
Right.
slip on it. It's also what we've seen is reduction in UTIs and bed sores, and that works to help everyone, not only the patient, your readmissions, your overall costs, but also the dignity of the patient, not having to get these diseases just for the sake of going to the bathroom in a diaper.
Right.
You're also, and this is another massive one on the caregiver side, is reducing workman comp claims from
Yep.
backbreaking work of
expensive.
changing while cleaning, and the increased morale because they're in a much nicer environment. They're not slipping on things, and they're going to really want to stay in that institution if you have that device. So not
Right.
only do you can deal with the current caregiver shortage by making them more efficient, you will also retain the excellent caregivers. Would you like to know what my dream is on this?
What?
That in 10 years' time, caregivers are saying, do you remember before we had this Carebidet?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to
What
be
we had to do?
revolutionize it.
Yeah. And I really see that. And I think it's that big. It will make that much of a difference that people will be talking about it like, do you remember before kind of thing? And
Yeah. So before and after the experience, not only financial, but emotionally, physically, not having the bed sores, not having as many UTIs, etc. This is amazing.
I think so. And this is where I'm choosing to expend my time and effort to evangelize. Almost, I feel like I'm at the cutting edge here, trying to persuade people to realize, come to the light side, as it were, because this really, I believe, will make that difference. And
Absolutely.
I'm probably guilty of being too passionate about it, but I just wish I had this for my own mother when she was in
I think everyone would as soon as they see it. If somebody wanted to get more information, they can go to howsgrandma.com, correct?
Howsgrandma.com. I've got lots of FAQs on there. I've got examples. I've got videos. And if you want to, on there, you can sign up for the training. I will give the training free of charge, the online training, to anyone and everyone. So go on, take it. You learn lots about it. Then if you're interested, I will gladly come along and demonstrate it. And if you're an institution, I will leave a device with you free of charge on certain conditions, but free of charge. You can try it for a week or however long you need to prove it to yourself that what I'm saying is real and you can see it for yourself.
Well, that's great. And we'll put the link in the comments as well. Well, thanks again, Anthony. And I look forward to having you on again another time. You're always welcome to come back here to Ask Amy About Aging, to talk to our seniors and the caregivers and senior living institutions. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is Aging Maven Aficionado Amy K. Gaskin speaking with Anthony Ford of House Grandma. Thanks again, Anthony.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Have a great day.
Thank you.